This is not Batman.
Batman is beloved by almost all comic fans due to his lack of reliance on powers and his fascinating storylines.
What the hell?
And because he's Batman.
But what if we told you that there was another Bat-themed hero that was created for pulp magazines around the same time as Batman?
That not only tried to get into a suing match with Batman, but had a 2012 movie that almost nobody watched. Salutations! I'm Inspector Keto.
And I'm Detective Mio, and this is Rise of the Black Bat.
Now before we get started, we need just a smidge of background information. What are pulp magazines?
Pulp magazines, or the pulps, were inexpensive magazines, sometimes printed on wood pulp paper, that featured simple, usually exploitative and pandering storylines and larger-than-life heroes that weren't focused on being realistic, but entertaining.
But the biggest allure of pulp magazines was the fact that they were cheap enough to be purchased by your broke-ass homies.
Now, who do be the Black Bat?
Black Bat is the name of a character that originally appeared in 1933 in the Black Bat Detective Mysteries.
It's also the year of Nazis.
In 1939, a different publication will create a new Black Bat character for a series called Black Book Detective.
Unlike most pulp characters at the time, the Black Bat had an origin story. But we won't get into that because that's in the movie that we'll cover in just a little bit.
It was released within months of Batman's first comic book appearance, which led to some terse words and possible lawsuits.
Before things got too messy, an editor for DC who used to work with what was then the current publisher of the Black Bat managed to get both parties to make a deal.
Both series would continue as normal, but the Black Bat couldn't appear in the comics, and Batman wouldn't appear in the pulp magazines. I think we know who ended up getting the better deal.
Over time, Batman increased in popularity while the Black Bat Over time, Batman increased in popularity while the Black Bat sank into public domain obscurity because the company didn't renew the copyright.
Or at least we think it's public domain. Copyright is just a smidge confusing. And that leads us to the movie that was released in 2012. So grab your popcorn, kiddies. We're going on a wild ride. The movie starts with what I believe are two henchmen. One of the henchmen leaves to relieve his bladder, but he doesn't return. When the second henchman looks for him, he's instead incapacitated by the dark avenging angel, Black Bat. Black Bat for some reason rises from the ground, which I guess explains the title of the movie.
My name is Anthony Quinn, and I'm the district attorney of this city.
He speaks! And that's what he sounds like. Kinda takes away from the dark, mysterious superhero entrance.
Black Bat then gets involved in one of the least riveting gun scenes we've ever seen. And then the voiceover returns, and it seems like we're gonna go back to where it all began.
Now you might ask yourself why a well-respected district attorney would find himself in a situation like this.
But first, opening credits. I'm not exactly sure what to do with the soundtrack. It's not bad, but it seems kind of inappropriate and a little bad. And the title font is questionable.
And boy, these are some long credits.
Finally, we're done with the credits. We see a woman walking down the street and then she swings around a pole for some reason before having a little smoke.
But good heavens, two unethical looking men start stalking her.
Okay, we get it. They're following her. Now please have something happen.
The woman finally allows herself to be cornered, and the two men begin to start pushing her around like middle school bullies. Where's the audio? It was weird enough when they were pushing her around and no one was talking, but this just makes me think they screwed up the audio somehow in post-production.
The Black Bat appears, and based on the shadows, I really can't tell what the frick is going on. There's some inconsistencies, such as when he floops up his cape in the shadow, but when we cut to the next scene, he's standing there normally.
oh wow, this gunfight is even less interesting than the last. To make sure he's not to be confused with Batman, Black Bat pulls out a gun and starts shooting and killing the criminals. And boy, that's an ungrateful woman.
Side note, Black Bat pulls a pretty interesting expression whenever he's doing something. But I digress.
What the frick is he doing upside down? And why'd they add so much slow-mo?
The movie didn't even end up crossing the hour-and-a-half mark, so all this floof was for nothing? Maybe it was just to get it past the hour mark.
I guess as far as travel goes, the Black Bat just casually walks around the city, unless he chooses to casually drive his car.
But I have my reasons for being here.
Are you serious about having Mr. Snape take the stand?
Yes, I am.
Don't you think that's a little risky?
What am I even witnessing?
Is the lip sync for this flashback off on purpose?
Sure.
It doesn't seem like it was really that long ago.
Okay, so I think now we're in the flashback, although we don't have that little haze thing over it, so it's kind of confusing the way the movie plays out. But now in a flashback, but we'll occasionally get little bits and pieces of further in the flashback later, but you'll see that later.
I'm not confused at all. Now we see that Tony Quinn is not yet the Black Bat. And right now, a creepy man is peeping on him. Well, he changes pretty weird. And Tony is wasting water while brushing his teeth.
Tony goes to sleep. I don't know why, the scene just seems really awkward to me, and the people from earlier waltzes on into Tony's house because Tony does not lock his doors. He's too white and trusting for that.
But Tony heard him coming and outmaneuvers the creeper to pull a gun on him.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
Tony holds the gun a little bit too close to the creeper for my taste, and the creeper says that his name is still Kirby, quite the name. And he came here to warn Tony that Mr. Snake, a man that Tony's gonna put behind bars because Tony is the district attorney, not sure if we mentioned that earlier, sent someone to break into Tony's house.
Kirby came to warn Tony, even though he could have called or something. The reason he came is because he felt like he owed Tony because Tony locked up Kirby's brother, and Kirby's brother was a bad dude.
And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
So Tony decides to make Kirby useful.
I have plans for you, American.
Later, a man breaks into the unlocked house, and if I was a devious man trying to break into her house, I'd be mighty suspicious that the front door was just unlocked.
The man then walks into Tony's bedroom, and he thinks Tony is asleep, even though the light's still turned on. But before he can shoot, Tony pops out from a doorway and shoots him dead.
Oliver Snake sends his regards.
Do you think he's dead?
The body in the bed actually belongs to Kirby, and yes, if Tony didn't time things perfectly and the criminal didn't hear him clear his throat, Kirby would be dead as a doornail.
Did you get him?
Yeah, I got him.
Ah, good shot.
Something about this Kirby guy seems a little off. I think he's enjoying this a little too much.
The next night, Mr. Snake decides it's time for Plan B. Meanwhile, what I assume is Tony's secretary asks Tony why he wants to put Snake on the stand, and Tony explains with some very interesting acting.
I don't get it.
You see, Snake is going to get up there, and he's going to paint this picture of a kind, wonderful, generous man that can do no wrong. In order to counter that, I need to put him front and center.
If we didn't already know that he's supposed to be a hero, I would have guessed that he was a billionaire megalomaniac supervillain, just based on his mannerisms, and the fact that he's white and bald.
Tony sees a woman pass by, and immediately has his interest piqued. Shortly thereafter,
You shouldn't have tried to get Snape to take the stand.
I'm sorry, what?
his secretary throws acid, or possibly just water, because that's what it looks like, into his face, and now he's blind! Okay, I don't think we need to see them reach the end of the hallway, especially not in slow-mo. Oh, I guess we're just gonna do that anyway.
I guess this is as good a time as any to mention that despite cutting a deal with DC not to meddle in each other's affairs, DC would use a very similar storyline with a certain district attorney getting splashed in the face with acid by someone who didn't like him.
Harvey Dent would become the horribly disfigured Two-Face only 3 years after the 1939 Black Bat debut. Oh hey, they're done. Back to the movie.
I guess no one witnessed the secretary throw acid at his face, so okay, I guess the authorities will not be involved.
We then get a 3-minute scene, all from one blurry camera view, about how the doctors can't save his eyesight. I begin to think that this movie is just wasting my time.
Later, Tony is blind, and a quick note for the acting, he does kind of feel for the glass before picking it up, so the consistency.
Tony is demoralized and has turned into a drunkard because apparently he was the only one who was able to put Snape behind bars. I guess. Also, Kirby from earlier is acting like Tony's butler for some reason. I think he just wants a free house to live in.
I'm blind, Silk. Blind. I'm as helpless as a baby.
Well, actually, most babies can see at least a little bit, so they do have you beat there.
Some people say you can try a case with your hands tied behind your back and blindfolded. Well, I guess now's the time to prove them right.
That's a load of baloney.
I don't think it is, sir.
Kirby gives Tony a pep talk and tells him that just because he's blind, it doesn't mean that he's useless. Which I would have thought was obvious and kind of insensitive of Tony to think of blind people that way. Apparently he was this prejudiced before this point, but it doesn't matter.
The woman who piqued Tony's interest earlier in the courthouse pops up and tells Tony that she's willing to fly him out to the Orient, her words not mine, and pay for the procedure that will fix his eyes. Why is she doing this?
Because her father was killed in an explosion.
Albert Baldwin, he was killed in an explosion.
Car bomb. I was never able to prove it, but I know Snape was responsible.
Oop, apparently it was a car bomb. Tony acts like it was just a casual explosion when I would have thought the car bombs were fairly identifiable. But I don't know. I'm not a district attorney.
Tony is still in denial that he can be an attorney, but the woman tells him he ain't got too much to lose. After she leaves, Tony tells Kirby to read him the paper she left, presumably to see if it's legit, but also tells Kirby to book airline tickets, implying that he's already made up his mind, so, that's a little bit confusing.
In the Orient, no more specifics are given. He goes under every procedure known to man. His words, not mine. But after that doesn't work out, he goes to a different set of doctors.
I met with a different set of doctors, and I only call them doctors because I don't know what else to call them.
So what would you call them if not doctors?
Wizards?
Turns out that the surgery worked, but in an unexpected twist, bright lights are too bright, but now Tony can see in the dark! And my oh my, does this scene stink.
I can see perfectly in the dark.
No, the surgery.
My eyes must have been worse than they thought. This is amazing.
Tony tells Kirby to use his underworld contacts he spoke of earlier and goes undercover to get stuff done, I guess.
He goes to some place where girls parade around and flaunt across the stage for about 7 minutes-ish. It has no impact on the story or plot and only serves to bore the audience to tears. I freaking wept.
It's literally 7 minutes of nothing! From what little I saw from skimming through the scene, ain't no way I'm wasting my life and soul. I'm pretty sure anyone who wanted some kind of super raunchy scene would be pleasantly disappointed.
Nani?
Why didn't the guy pop up during the performance so the people in the crowd would be more distracted?
The whole conversation is acted out very awkwardly, not saying I could do better, but I certainly hope that I could.
The Rat Man points Tony in the direction of Steve, a man who works for Snape, and we get a parting shot of the scantily clad women once more. A parting shot that takes 30 seconds, bruh.
Then we get a suit-up scene that lasts for about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and they didn't even spend any of that time explaining where he got the suit. Why does he need it? Why does it look like that?
We switch to a scene where some unsavory people are doing a gun trade, and acting in this film has not gotten any better.
So we good to do business now?
Yeah, sure. You guys throwing some kind of party? Something with a big bang?
You could say that. What party favors you bring?
But then the black bat appears, and we see a nice close-up of his mouth.
You got a problem, friend?
You've got the problem, and I'm not your friend.
Nice chompers he's got. He does an impossible disappearing act and gets into a firefight with the goons. After shooting one of the men dead, he tells the last living lackey to tell Snape to keep a nightlight on because he's about to be afraid of the dark. His words, definitely not mine.
This movie is insufferable. Steve, the last remaining goon, tells Snape that some freaky guy all dressed up in black is after him, but Snape ain't scared of nobody, ain't scared of no one.
So this leads us back to where we started our story. I had finally made my way to Snape's warehouse. Next step was to find a way in.
Oh yay! We're in the present day now, finally. But unfortunately, the voiceover continues. I like how they literally play the scenes from the beginning of the movie in full, just so that's painfully clear we're in the present day, and also probably to fluff up that runtime.
Black Bat busts into Snape's building and starts killing goons. Over there!
Blam, blam, blam!
And over there!
Blam, blam, blam!
Snape tells everyone to be on the lookout for someone dressed all in black. It seems a little unnecessary at this point. I mean, it seems that most people probably have encountered him or at least heard the gunshots.
And it makes you wonder what they're exactly on the lookout for in the first place.
A man dressed all up in pink.
Black Bat fights his way to Snake, but oh no, he's surrounded, but oh my, I guess Black Bat used Kirby's connections or something, and the guys with guns just leave. Now Black Bat has Snake, and he can put him on trial. He says that there are drugs and guns in the building that would have Snake locked up for good.
So, he throws a stick of dynamite in the building and blows it up.
Why?
If evidence was in the building, why risk damaging any of it? What's the use? And where to get the dynamite from? And how was it not caught up with the explosion? And who made this movie?
We get one final voiceover saying that Tony will continue to beat the Black Bat and fight crime. They were seeing what I'm hoping is original art with some radio shows talking about the Black Bat, and no one seems to care that Black Bat just murders all his victims.
The end.
So, let's review the film. Is the movie good?
No, it's not good.
There really isn't too much to say that we haven't already mentioned during the recap. The movie is very boring with little to no substance, with not super great performances and not very good directing. And that's being nice about it.
There's literally no reason to watch this film, even if you like bad movies. It's just too much filler to bother with.
I can appreciate them making a full movie though, and I hope the cast and crew had fun making it. But yeah, I can't in good conscience recommend watching the movie.
But we can recommend liking this video, if you liked it, and subscribing for future content.
We're working on a full breakdown of the rise and fall of Michael Bay's Transformers series, coming out hopefully early next month if we can get it done soon.
And we have some other fun videos on Ghost Rider and the Fantastic Four 1994. Hopefully you'll find those interesting, and thank you for watching this video.
It's been a bit since we've uploaded, but we appreciate the support on the last video, which if you haven't seen it, check it out over here.
Or if you want to watch something a bit different, try this video over here. And until we see you then, I am Detective Mio.
And I am Inspector Keto.
And we hope you have a blessed day. Bye!